are, the last video of the year, this month's Ask Me Anything. If you don't know, I email my Patreon patrons once a month, telling me to send whatever questions they have. Patron questions always go first in these videos, and then I do a live stream once a month, and all super chats get featured in this monthly Ask Me Anything. Full transparency, participation has gone down in this a little bit. For now, the plan is to keep doing it. It's a once a month thing. It's a way of me giving back to people that support me in return for a little more support. First of all, Greg wants to know, Greg has several questions, but one, did you find a new teaching position after all the doxing, getting fired, and all of that? I'll try to make this kind of short. After all of that happened, I did apply to a bunch of teaching positions, and I didn't land one. What I decided to do was, because YouTube was kind of doing okay for me at the time, and there was TikTok, I decided to just kind of invest in producing content and just seeing where that went. I had enough money that I knew I'd be comfortable until next year. That investment has paid off, I guess. I mean, my channel growth is insane on all aspects. However, it's nowhere close to enough. I've explained that before. I'm not going to go into it again. But actually, last week on Monday, so this is just brand new, I did get a regular job, a 9 to 5, so to speak. I haven't started yet, and I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to choose to just have more secrets than I have in the past. It is going to be different for me, but, it is what it is. This won't affect my ability to produce content back when I was teaching. The last 2 years, I still managed to put up over 300 videos each of those years. Next, how long have I played guitar? So I'm 33 and a half. I started playing guitar in 8th grade, so I guess I was 14. So going on 20 years. I started electric, but I played acoustic pretty early on in the mix. I was just kind of go back and forth depending on whatever I felt like. As far as other instruments, no. I mean, I kind of know a little bit how a piano and a ukulele work, but I wouldn't say I can really play songs on either of them. And finally, what's better for me? Patreon, YouTube memberships, or TikTok subs gifts? On an individual basis, I would say it's Patreon. I'll be honest, I have no idea how the YouTube memberships work, how much they're worth. I don't do any special content for YouTube members. I mean, I could, but I don't know. I don't know if it's laziness or I just don't want to overwhelm myself. In TikTok subs and gifts, I do not encourage anybody to subscribe to me on TikTok or send gifts. I know that TikTok takes a lot of it. They take like half of it. But Patreon, I basically get 90%, I believe, or maybe a little bit more than that, of all of my Patreon supporters, patrons to me. There are, I think, really valuable kickbacks for Patreon members. You get the videos without any ads. You get them a little bit early. You can get a free copy of my book. There's access to this digital artwork that I've done. Malario, if that's how you say it, wanted to know if I watched Wicked. No, and I won't. I'm not watching anything that Hollywood is regurgitating anymore. It's just all of it is terrible. Again, specifically the regurgitated stuff. This movie's 80 years old, or well, I don't know how old. Maybe it's 100 years old. It's been done before. I have no interest in it because it just won't be good or interesting. 2 people asked the exact same question, which was, what's my favorite time/era in history? I'm not a history buff, but I do read a lot of history books. And I would say the period in time that interests me the most is about the 100 years after Columbus sailed to America and what was going on in the Americas. I've read several books on the Spanish and Inca clashes, Spanish and Aztec clashes, or the Ixcan-Tlahtoloyan. And 1491 and 1493 are amazing books that focus on North America as well. Jared also asked album of the year and or what am I listening to lately? This is for me this is so weird. I just don't listen to a lot of music anymore, which is almost depressing for me. It's very strange. And I really am not discovering any new music. I don't think I added a single song to any playlist that I have on Spotify this year that I hadn't heard before. I hate to be disappointing, but I kind of don't really have an answer to this question. What I listen to the most is, most regularly is two podcasts. Pardon the Interruption from ESPN to keep up with the sports world, and those guys are hilarious. I love them. And I listen to Breaking Points to be filled in news-wise. Other than that, it's a lot of audiobooks, and I do listen to music, but I'm just kind of listening to the same stuff on my default playlist over and over again. The new UG, what's worse, Preup or rabies? Although rabies is 100% fatal if not treated, it actually can be cured. Whereas presuppositionalism, I don't know. I don't know if that can be. And who's your number one debate person? So I don't really know what the meaning of this question was. Who's my favorite person to debate? I don't really have one. I like novelty, so we haven't seen a repeat guest on the channel in a while, apart from Gas Pressure, who I need to remember to not talk to him because I don't think he's being serious. In terms of anybody I haven't and I would like to, one that comes to mind is Andrew Wilson. And I don't really know what we would talk about or debate, but he seems like kind of a hack to me. Everything I've ever seen him do is he's debating very young and very ignorant women for the most part. And just like the way he debates is so incredibly stupid, but he debates people that are kind of easy to stump. I get the honest sense that his reputation is overinflated by the lack of quality people that he talks to. He's the Kimbo Slice of the debate world. Not bad, but I've never seen anything. He's never said a single thing ever that made me go, "Oh, damn, yeah, that's a good point," or anything like that. I've never really seen any skill. Moneybags wants to know when will you wear wigs? I don't plan on ever doing it. I got a pretty good hairline still for being my age, and in my family, there are only a couple people that have ever gone bald in my family. We are blessed with some pretty great hair genetics. Big Donut Studio has a bunch of questions. Have I ever read C.S. Lewis' Mere Christianity? No. I really don't know anything about C.S. Lewis. I know that he has a pretty strong reputation, but he was really just an armchair theologian and a novelist. And because he was a skilled writer, I guess people, and he was probably a really intelligent dude, people lean on him and they think like he had great arguments and all that kind of stuff. But I don't really have anything to say. How would I guess Superman can fly? I guess using superpowers, because he's a Kryptonian, they can draw on a lot of energy because we still have a young and active sun. At least that's my understanding of how that works. And how do clouds work? What do they feel like? You ever look at those memes that talk about how much you wanted to try foods from cartoons? The two of the foods, I know this sounds like it's unrelated, but I'm getting there. Two of the foods I wanted to try the most were, I didn't want to eat a leaf star from The Land Before Time, but I wanted to drink the water because it just looked like the crispest, is that a word? Crispest, freshest, most delicious water ever. And also, weirdly, I never wanted to eat grass, but when Spike hatches in The Land Before Time and he eats the grass around him, like the mouth sounds they added to that, they just made it sound so delicious. Now, what reminds me of that also is in Aladdin, when they go on the magic carpet ride and they sing A Whole New World, when they grab the clouds and throw them, it's so bizarre how that animation could make you feel like Like those clouds back then felt like what I think squishmallows feel like today. Like that was kind of my sense of what they were like. But anyways, clouds, like fog is the exact same thing as clouds. When the air gets to above 100% humidity, then you can't have any more water vapor. So any water vapor that tries to form condenses. Clouds are actually liquid. People don't understand that. It's an extremely thinly dispersed liquid. They're made of droplets. So that's what clouds are. And they feel, a cloud feels like fog. So if they have fog where you're at, that's your answer. Cybernetic Samurai, how can you call yourself an atheist while jacking Jesus' swag with that beard? Sorry, there's a really weird typo on there. Beard mustache combo. Yeah, I mean, I guess I am culturally appropriating Jeebus. Ligma wants to know if that's a Gibson or an Epiphone Les Paul. I'll show you a picture of it here in the edit. It is an Epiphone Les Paul. It is specifically, and I'm probably going to get it wrong exactly, but it's a 59 reissue something special edition Epiphone Les Paul. So it's wired. It has Gibson electronics in it, but the body is Epiphone. So like made in Vietnam, China, wherever they make Epiphones. But it has the heart and soul kind of a Gibson. Professional guitar players that I respect, like Rhett Shull, have played that guitar and they say, that sounds exactly like a 59 Gibson. So I'll take it. I had a Gibson Les Paul and I actually didn't like it very much. I don't know what it was. I didn't like it, but this is one of my favorite guitars. And the moral grandstanding comment in the Hovind debate is goated for life. Yeah, that was probably, it's hard to pick very best moments of the year, but I would say that and telling Darth Dawkins when he said, I predicted to a friend, and I said, you don't have any friends, Gary, STFU. Those have to be in the top 3. Derek the Dullard wants to know if I'm into video games, and if so, which ones? Yeah, I would. The way my friend group currently works, and actually has worked for a long time, is we sort of get really obsessed with one game for, it might be like 1 or 2 months, or it might be for like 6 months to a year. But we spend, when we are playing games, we spend about 80% of our time playing that one game. Going back several years, that game was Deep Rock Galactic. Like during the pandemic, that was our go-to comfort food video game. Played a lot of others, but that was always the one we played the most of. After that, Gunfire Reborn, that was one we played that obsessively for several months, and then we all just kind of stopped. Minecraft Dungeons, that was another one where, oh man, I played so much of that for several months, and then it just completely disappeared. That game currently for me is Helldivers 2, and it has been since it came out. The next one on our list is going to be the new Monster Hunter when that comes out. Some others, the Forza Horizon games, we played the shit out of those too. A healthy variety, but there are so many games I've never played that it's kind of like sacrilegious to gamers that I haven't. I've never played Elden Ring, not even 1 minute of it. Baldur's Gate, never played a second of that game either. The other question was, would you ever do a collaboration with MC Toon? I'd be more than happy to. I talked to the guy one time. He joined a TikTok live stream that I was doing. It was years ago. I don't even remember what we talked about. But no, I totally could or would be in favor of that. So MC Toon, if you ever want to like chat about the stuff that you and I do, be more than happy to do that. Coolio, at least I think that's how you say that, has several questions. Is Down syndrome inherited from the mother or the father? It can be inherited from either. It's not sex linked. It's an autosomal chromosome. It results from, I'm pretty sure it's called non-disjunction. So sperm and eggs only have half the chromosomes that normal cells do. So the chromosomes have to be split in half. And it can happen that one of those chromosomes doesn't split. And so the whole thing gets pulled over. That's how you get the extra one. The biological cause behind autoimmune conditions. There are There are a few ways that this happens. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get a lot wrong, but you have this organ called the thymus, kind of right here in the notch between your clavicles, just above your sternum. And that's where your white blood cells are programmed. So you're not really born immune to hardly anything, but what happens is the body the way your cells, white blood cells, recognize foreign cells is by markers they have on their surfaces. We call those antigens. And they're programmed to recognize yours, but there are so many others that they can recognize, or that they have to be able to recognize as foreign. So the body just introduces random combinations of just countless variations of proteins and carbohydrates that the white blood cells can recognize, because they have to, it's like a lock and key type mechanism. They have to be able to recognize that and latch to it in order to know this is something to attack. Kurzgesagt has really incredibly good immune videos, and for visual learners, I can't recommend those enough. But anyways, there's this phenomenon where some harmless things in nature, the chemical markers on them resemble something that the body has been programmed to recognize as dangerous, and so that can trigger it. That's really the only example I know much about. And what country would I visit from each continent? For South America, I think it would probably have to be Peru, but I could probably be talked into Brazil as well. For Europe, it seems kind of like a cop-out answer, but I think I'd have to go with Italy if I could only go to one. For Asia, I would pick Japan because of the combination of the natural beauty and also the I can't even imagine what it would be like to be in Tokyo, but that'd be something I'd want to experience. In terms of Africa, after thinking about it for a while, I wouldn't want to go to Egypt to go look at old pyramids. Although, well, I mean, I would like to do that, but if I can only pick one, I'd rather go to either Tanzania or maybe Kenya, because I want to go on a safari, basically. And I think looking at zebras and elephants and lions with Mount Kilimanjaro in the background, that would just be the most incredible thing ever. As far as countries in Australia go, I guess I would pick Australia. As far as countries in Antarctica go, I guess I would pick Antarctica. And then for North America, I mean, I guess if I include Central America, because I have no interest in going to Canada, so then that leaves Mexico, but it was only two options. But if we include Central America, that's really tough. I do really want to see pyramids, which you can see in Mexico City, but Belize also has some of them as well. So I guess I would just call that one a toss-up. Wilberforce said, as a former teacher, your cancellation hit my soul. Parents are the worst. You're not wrong. You're a little bit wrong on the specific here, because I don't think this really had anything to do with parents. It was administrative people, but like it wasn't even the principal. The principal had my back. It was just a pathetic PR stunt. The school recognized, they knew, well, you know, everything that was said about our teacher was a lie. But the rumor exists, and you can't do anything about the way rumors spread. So we got to find a reason to fire this guy. So let's lie about FERPA violations and say that he did one. So yeah, they're like a PR stunt covering their asses. It's pathetic. And I'm almost certain it's illegal. I just can't find a lawyer. I don't know if that's the right name, but that's how I copied it down. But the question is my Les Paul connected with the Trump campaign? No. El Guero, thank you for all the content this year. You're welcome. And please continue to destroy Darth. I would. He just has to come to my channel to talk to me. I'm not going to go on his, where he does his, Nathan Oakley type of administrative abuse. We'll call it that. People still message me and regularly to this day to say that he still just talks about me constantly. Get over me, Gary. The final question from Big Kid was, love you punking precepts. Why do you think they find it so strong, but also so blind to why it isn't? Well, we're all always in search of confirmation bias. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I know I have felt a certain way about like maybe a politician I don't like, or like an argument about the that uses the Bible that goes against Christianity that sounds really good, and I just run with it. And later on, I learn that that argument is actually really stupid, or I learned that the argument was actually, or the evidence or what the claim was, literally just false. I think people gravitate to presuppositionalism because it gives them a justification that is claimed to be airtight or whatever. And I think people latch on to it strongly because very few people have any idea what the hell to say to in response to when you're being presupped. It took me quite a while to figure out how to deal with those morons. With the moronic arguments. And there's multiple ways you can deal with it, actually. I was going through some old YouTube videos, like videos that are like over 2 years old. And somebody left a comment, and it was great. It said something to the effect of, presuppositionalism. I recognize that you're honest enough to say you have no solution to hard solipsism, but I'm not. Therefore, God. I think that perfectly encapsulates it. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next year.